Hi guys, my name is V and welcome to my book club. So in today's video, I'm going to be answering the book confessions tag. Thank you so much to Dianella for tagging me. I'm so sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, but I absolutely adore her channel and she's just so sweet. So thank you so much to her for tagging me in this, and please check her channel out. So get comfortable, grab a cup of coffee, and let's get answering some questions. So the first question is, what is an unpopular book opinion that you have? So I don't like the way that most books are advertised, where you know the tropes before you go into a book. I mean, knowing the bigger trope, enemies to lovers, and the big trope is okay, but I feel like sometimes it takes away from the story if you go into the book knowing, the smaller sub tropes. And especially in the fantasy genre, I don't like to know going into a book because I really do think that it takes away from the reading experience, and it kind of ruins a little bit of the book. And another kind of unpopular opinion is, I don't trust books when they are overly hyped. I see a book everywhere on my social media, if it's like all over YouTube and book talk and it's everywhere. So far, the ones that I found there have not been good books and I do not trust them. Those will not be the books that I automatically pick up. I know sometimes I do feel a little bit left out on the hype and I will give a book a try, but so far I have been disappointed by any book that has been like majorly hyped. The next question is, has your reading taste changed over the years? I would definitely say it kind of has. I wouldn't use the word changed. I would say it's expanded. So I've always been a fantasy girl. When I was younger, I used to be really into Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, and I had my dystopian phase, the Hunger Games, the Maze Runner. But I guess in the last few years, as much as I've still been, into fantasy and stuff, I've really tried to expand my reading and, expand the scope of what I read, tried different genres, and, I've read a couple non-fictions and classics and just tried to be a little bit more diverse in my reading. So I guess in that sense, my reading has kind of, changed over the years. The next question is, what genre do you read to get out of a book slump? So generally, if I want to break a reading slump, I'll pick up a very fast-paced thriller, sometimes even a very fast-paced rom-com, something with simplistic writing that, isn't too wordy and doesn't take too much brain power to read. That generally will break a reading slump for me. The next question is, who are some of your auto-buy authors? There are so many authors that as soon as I see like there's a new book that's being released by them, I'm going to pick it up. I want to read it. I don't even care what it's about. I see their name and I'm like, yes. In terms of the romance, it'll probably be Ali Hazelwood, Abby Jimenez. So far, I have not read a book by them that disappointed. My fantasy go-to people are Sarah J. Maas, Stephanie Garber, Holly Black, Tahira Mafi, even Joe Gillick, who wrote One Dark Window. I've only read that duology by her, but I feel like there's so many authors who I've recently read, and now I'm very curious to read anything more that they put out. So there's just so many authors that I really want to read. The next question is, how many chances do you give an author before you won't try them again? I think it depends a lot on the author and what they write, and I think it's slightly unfair of me if I'm going into a genre I don't typically write and then I'm like hating on the book. So it just depends, but most of the time, if I dislike a book by an author, I won't pick up another book by them immediately. Like I'll finish that one, but I won't like easily pick up another book unless like the premise sounds really good or there's like really people are raving about it. Otherwise, I generally won't pick up another book by the same author. And that too, I'm not saying I won't give them another chance. It's just that I'm not going to jump really quickly into reading, another book by them. Do you have anything that you like to do or listen to while you read? Generally, no. I don't have anything specific I listen to. I like to read in quiet. Sometimes I'll put on a playlist. It just depends. But there's nothing, specific. But if I am listening to an audiobook, which I've started to do recently, I do like to be busy and do some form of activities if I'm, trying to listen to an audiobook. How far do you read into a book before DNFing? So this is unfortunately my curse. I do not DNF a book. If I start a book, I have to finish it. And by start a book, I mean like if I read like a good 15% into a book, I'm gonna finish it. Even though sometimes it's a struggle and it'll take me a while if I don't like a book, but I don't typically DNF books. Do you ever find yourself making the same faces as characters in the book? I guess sometimes. I don't really pay attention for that. Rereading, yes, no, or depends. So I am 100% fan of rereading, a big fan of it. It's not easy, and depending on the book, it's kind of scary because sometimes if you reread a book that you really loved and you're going into it with a different mindset, you can kind of burst your bubble on, the reading experience when you first read it. So sometimes it can be a little bit scary to reread books, but sometimes it's like a really reassuring thing, something familiar, and just reliving all those memories of a really good book. So I'm a big fan of it. And sometimes you have to reread, sometimes you're craving something that only that book can provide for you, and sometimes you have to reread because there are other books in a series, and I have the memory of a sieve and I'm not going to remember unless I reread. And the last question is, tag any other booktubers. So I have tagged two lovely ladies and their channels will be in the description below. I absolutely love their channel and their videos. It's so great. So please check their channels out. I'm just so curious to hear what their answers to some of these questions will be. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video and I will see you guys soon.